It's been 2 years since the last March Madness. You may be out of practice when betting college basketball. Maybe you haven't even thought about NCAA hoops in 2 years. It's been so long, you might feel like it's your first time all over again. Or maybe it is your first time. Don't worry, you've got this. Sure, you might be rusty, but there is no reason to give up and not gamble on the games. After all, what's better than waking up to college basketball and wondering if you'll have enough money left for lunch?
My favorite tactic for March Madness is to choose upsets from teams that shoot a lot of threes. Even if they're not that good at shooting threes, threes are a high variant outcome. So you could have a situation where in one game, there's an outlier.
I want program consistency and growth. And I don't mean through a season. I don't mean the hot team through a postseason tournament. I want a program that has developed deep roots in developing players. Give me guys who have been there for 3 years. Give me guys who have been there for 4 years. Give me coaches who have been there for a very long time. That's why we liked Villanova a couple years ago. That's why we like Gonzaga this year. Those are programs that have matured over several years and have sustained consistency. Also, I'll do whatever Stuckey tells me to do.
Try to avoid recency bias and overreacting to what you just saw. You saw a high seed, big favorite, really struggle in the first round. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to fade them in the second round. A lot of times, hey, that's a refocus spot. They escape with a win. You'll see these Cinderella teams that pull off an upset or two in the first weekend. They get to the second weekend and everyone wants to bet them. And the line is actually too short and they get blown out. You see it all the time. So don't fall in love with what you just saw.
You don't have to bet every game. Stick to the teams and conferences you know something about. Don't bet on Sam Houston State Bearcats just because your brother-in-law Bo graduated from there and insists they're hot right now.
Look to fade teams in the first round that do not play good perimeter defense whatsoever. Some of these mid-majors come up and the reason they got there is because they'll blitz you at the three-point line and they're able to produce upsets because of their great effective field goal percentage. So specifically look at teams like Iowa that don't defend the perimeter very well. They get matched up with a team that's hot from the three-point line. That's an easy upset.
One easy statistic to just go and research yourself is free throw shooting and understanding which teams are very good from the line and which teams really struggle from the charity stripe. And that's really important when you're dealing with a favorite between 6, 8, 9 points. Teams aren't going to give up in the tournament. They're going to keep fouling to the last possible second. And that could be the difference between a cover and a non-cover if the other team is making all their free throws, or you have another team who starts missing front ends and the other team hits a couple threes, and all of a sudden you have a cover. A lot of times, these covers are going to come down to the last 30 seconds or a minute, and free throws will decide it.
Don't bet so much you can't pay for top ramen. Set a budget for the entire NCAA tournament. Pick an amount that won't make you cry if you lose it all. Then use 3 to 5% on each bet. Don't go over 5%. This will ensure you don't get overexcited and bet too much on a single game, and you won't be living under a bridge by April.
Generally, I play a first half under when teams are in the postseason playing in a neutral site and a venue where they're not used to seeing that hoop.
When it comes to March Madness, I base all of my spread, total, player prop betting based on my projections that I create. You'll have full access to those once we know the field at actionnetwork.com.
Yeah, just do what Stuckey says.
Don't bet with your bracket. Treat your bracket as a separate entity. Just because you have a team going on to the Final Four, the Elite Eight, doesn't mean you have to bet them. And in a way, you have a hedge if you bet the other team that you like after researching it, but you have another team, the other team moving on in the bracket, that's fine. But don't fall in love with your bracket when betting. Those are two separate entities.
There you have it. You're ready now. So instead of paying the entry fee for a March Madness bracket pool, which has crazy long odds, smartly invest the money by betting individual games. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more advice, analysis, and picks. Plus, download the Action Network app. Best of luck.